The decree of God relates to every moment of our lives, even those moments that we think are very small and minor. You think about Jesus in the Gospels. On one occasion, he's trying to encourage his disciples, to comfort them, and he says, "Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny?" A sparrow was sort of like the cheapest animal that, you'd buy a sparrow for a penny. 2 sparrows for a penny. They were kind of worthless. And Jesus says, "Aren't 2 of them sold for a penny? And not one of them will fall to the ground apart from the will of your Father." But think about it. God's decree extends to the sparrows, to the ants, to everything in the universe, to our very lives. David, the psalmist, he's writing in Psalm 139, verse 16, he says to the Lord, "Your eyes have seen my unformed substance, and in your book were all written the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them." I mean, just think about this doctrine for a moment. When we're talking about the will of God, Jesus taught us to pray, "Father in heaven, your will be done." And we're talking right now about one aspect of God's will, the decretive will of God. That is the fact that God reigns, is sovereign, is king, and that everything that happens in the world happens under his sovereign decree, even when a little sparrow, worthless to humans, falls to the ground. In the words of theologian R.C. Sproul, there is no maverick molecule if God is sovereign. There isn't one molecule in the universe that's unaccounted for by our sovereign God. He knows where they all are. He's the ruler of everything. Not one atom exists in the universe that is outside of God's power and decree. And this applies to, you just go down the list. It applies to the weather. It applies to salvation. It applies to disease. It applies even to death, the death of a sparrow.